Okay, so we're going to get back started. I am super thrilled that everybody's having a great time connecting with each other because that's really what this is about. But we also have 3 awards left to give out, and then I promise you, you will not hear from me again after that. Oh, I know, that's so sad. But you got your beer. Okay, so our next award is the Don Ricks Lifetime Achievement Award, and presenting this award is Derek Badger, Senior Manager, Payer and Engagement and Strategic Partnerships from AstraZeneca. Derek, please come to the stage.
Thank you, Wendy. What a great night, and congratulations to all the winners so far. At AstraZeneca Canada, science is in our DNA and at the core of everything we do. As one of the country's leading biopharmaceutical companies, we are a science-led organization that pushes the boundaries of science to deliver life-changing medicines and transform the treatment of diseases like asthma, diabetes, breast cancer, and many more. This unwavering belief and focus on the power of science is why I'm excited to announce the winner of this year's award. This award acknowledges an exceptional scientific entrepreneur from BC's research and scientific institutions, celebrating their remarkable contributions to life sciences throughout their career. Recipients of this award have showcased a lasting positive influence on the sector at both provincial and national levels, distinguishing themselves from their peers. They've exhibited robust leadership, served as an inspiration to others, guided newcomers in the life sciences arena, and triumphed over challenges in their path. This year's winner of the Dr. Don Ricks Lifetime Achievement Award is Noel Hall. Starting his biomedical career as a pharmaceutical sales representative in South London, Noel was lucky to be mentored by creative, intelligent senior executives who instilled the importance of implementing a commercial strategy early in the development process. When Noel moved his family to BC in 1999, he recognized biotech startups could get greater value for their ideas by commercializing their own technologies and not partnering too early. He started consulting with companies in BC on their commercial and business development strategies. It was during his time on the board of the Canadian Genetic Diseases Network that he became intrigued by the lack of development of medicines for orphan diseases. Working with 2 other CGDN board members, he conceptualized a new business model to accelerate drug development for rare diseases. Aspriva went on to become one of the great success stories of the BC biotech scene. The Aspriva experience demonstrated that it is possible to retain and recruit great people in British Columbia, and left Noel passionate about growing a vibrant biotech sector with the confidence to commercialize its own technologies. He has founded 6 BC companies, been an early board member and investor to numerous others, and mentor for many more, including in the agricultural biotechnology sector through the Creative Destruction Lab. Please enjoy this video that highlights Mr. Hall's approach to his many accomplishments.
Well, when I first came to BC, it was 1999, and I first started to get involved with the BC, life sciences community. The thing, that was apparent to me right from the get-go was just how collaborative the community was. And I didn't appreciate it then, but I certainly became aware that Don Ricks was very much a part of this culture of collaboration and of giving back, and that if you were successful with your company, there was almost an expectation that you reinvest back into the next generation of companies and not just give your money, but give your time and do your mentorship. And I think Don realized that in order to achieve the full potential of the life sciences community here, we had to collaborate. we had to give back. We had to support that next generation of companies coming through. But there's two mentors, I think, that really stand out for me when I first came to BC. One's Michael Hayden and one's Farris. Farris was one of the investors that I've co-invested with now on numerous deals. Haig and I sit on the board together of lots of companies, and he has introduced me to many people that I've interacted with. It's deeply humbling that I'm receiving this award at the very time that Haig is receiving the Milt Wong Award, and it's a real honor to be receiving this award alongside Haig.
He's a great strategic thinker. He's a great negotiator, and he's very good with people. He just loves to do this kind of thing and actually build the infrastructure and the corporate talent around British Columbia.
20 years ago, most companies would think about partnering too early because they didn't have that confidence, they didn't have that infrastructure. And today, I think the picture is very different. So I think in accepting this award, I feel like I'm holding it up there for all the commercial people that play an integral role in making biomedical discoveries the success that they are. Sometimes innovation in any industrial sector happens away from where the traditional centers of excellence are. So, the Tesla is not based in Detroit. And I think sometimes that kind of innovative thinking happens away from traditional clusters because the mentors say, well, you can't do that, or we tried that 10 years ago and that doesn't work, or that didn't work then. You don't get that thinking out here on the West Coast. You get, well, why not? Why can't we do this? And I want to see that kind of breakout thinking continuing in this province because I think it will.
Please help me in welcoming Noel Hall to the stage.
Well, thank you, Life Sciences BC, for this award. It's deeply humbling. And I would just like to congratulate all of the award winners tonight. It's an honor to be part of this community, to be recognized tonight. I also wanted to recognize all of the previous winners of the Don Ricks Award. I see Simon is in the room tonight, and Simon was the recipient last year. And if I'm being honest, I probably know that I'm not receiving this award for my profound discoveries on the research side. I do have my name on a few patents, but in all seriousness, I feel that this award is really honoring, I think, the role that commercial people play in biomedical discoveries. And I think I am probably the first recipient of this award who truly comes into this very much from a commercial perspective. And I think it's a recognition of how our sector has matured and how we now have that confidence to take our technologies much further. Because as I said in the video, when I turned up here in the province in 2000, the traditional biotech business model was to get to phase 2 if you can and then partner it out. And I don't think we were fully capturing the inherent value of our technology, and I think that's changed tremendously today because we have the infrastructure, we have the confidence. We now have commercial people who are building their careers here in the province who are choosing to relocate to BC. And we also have the investors here who understand the idea of going long and really trying to capture that value down the road. And I will tell you that when I came here and emigrated to Canada in '97 and then moved out to the West Coast in 2000, I looked around for companies that would kind of utilize my kind of career experience because I'd come in my late 30s. I was very much a pharma marketing guy, and I'd done a lot of work in commercial strategy development, worked with many companies, helping them take their assets from phase 2 all the way through to commercialization. And there really wasn't an obvious career path for me. And ironically, I have to admit that I actually applied to be the executive director of Life Sciences BC. And quite rightly, given the fact that I had no experience doing that kind of role, they turned me down. And as they say in life, necessity is the mother of invention. So I had to really go about thinking about, well, what was I going to do with my life, back in 2000. And I was fortunate to get onto the board of the Canadian Genetic Diseases Network, and that's where I got to meet Michael Hayden, I got to meet Richard Glickman, and we started to really think about different ways that we could develop medicines for rare diseases. We'd actually had a presentation from a company called Swedish Orphan, and they had spoke about the years that they had taken to get their concept to market. And we really thought there must be a better way to do this. So I will tell you that over a curry at Michael's Kitchen, we really thought about a different business model, and that was called indication partnering. And we said, well, why don't we just think about licensing patented medicines that have applications in rare diseases, and we short-circuit an awful lot of the risks that you typically associate with drug development, which you don't see when you're looking at rare diseases. And it was also, I think important that I really understood the role that the angel community played here in the province, because compared to raising money in San Francisco, I found up here on the West Coast that most of the discussions I was having with angel investors center around the people and not the technology. And it was absolutely obvious with Espriva, because we didn't have a technology, we didn't have any IP. We were literally an idea. We had 3 very passionate, very motivated people, but we were literally an idea, and the angel investors that supported us really backed us to get this deal done with Roche, and I'm grateful for what they did. And when I look back on some of the excuses, you probably remember we raised $65 million in our Series A back then, which I think at the time was one of the largest Series A rounds ever done for a biotech. And I remember some of the excuses that VCs gave us for not investing. And there were a couple that stood out for me. One's quite funny, because one of my colleagues was presenting down in Sand Hill Road, and it was quite clear that the managing partner was extremely uncomfortable, and we'd spoken about how we were revolutionizing the field of rare diseases with this unique business model, and it was clear that this managing partner was having none of it. And so I kind of put my hand up and said, obviously we've upset you, what is it? Well, it turns out this person had tried to come to Victoria in May, to come to Butchart Gardens. There was a windstorm going on, and he just could not understand how a company like ours could possibly exist in the hinterlands of the biotech community. And we were on a rock, off Vancouver, and there was just no way that he would ever invest, and we would have to relocate to Sand Hill Road or to San Francisco for him to do that. And we even had, believe it or not, another venture capitalist who, once we explained the novel business model that we had and the engagement we were having with Roche on this business model, actually turned us down, because in their own words, they said, well, nobody's ever done this before. And I thought, well, aren't you in the business of supporting innovation and breakthrough thinking? Well, suffice to say that that person didn't invest. And we even had another venture capitalist who turned us down because they thought we were in the business of philanthropy, because we were developing a medicine for rare diseases, and they just felt that, why are you trying to do that and not going after the larger markets? And obviously, back nowadays, that's obvious, but back then it wasn't so obvious. So it's really exciting just to see the maturation of this community. And I think today we absolutely have the skills, the infrastructure, and the motivation and the support of the finance community to take our ideas, an awful lot further. And, when we sold Espriva in 2007, it was instilled in me by that time that that's not the end, that's just the beginning. And you absolutely give back. And I've been very fortunate to work with what I call a lot of dreamers to help them fulfill their dreams and actually give them the courage to take their technologies a lot further forward. And finally, just in closing remarks, it is strange to get a Lifetime Achievement Award when you feel like you're in the middle of your career. Because I honestly do feel like I'm just getting started. It is kind of ironic. And I was thinking about, well, perhaps in 20 years' time, would I change my investment thesis? And the answer is I would probably follow Haig's current investment advice. And I would just ask, if you are pitching to Haig, just remind me that when you get into your mid-80s, your timelines on exits change, and Haig will invest as long as there's an exit within the next 3 to 6 months. So I would also just it would be remiss of me not to say a big thanks to my family that's sitting over there. They have supported me through many difficult times when it was much challenging. It was challenging to raise the money for a Espriva. You know, I'd quit my job, and it wasn't working out as quickly as we thought with Espriva, and yet they were always there for me, and it's just an honor that they're here tonight. Thank you.
Thank you. What an extraordinary story. And the Lifetime Achievement Award doesn't mean that your life is over. So we look forward to those next 20 years and what you're going to accomplish.